I was honestly going to start the show on time, but this is too great. Guys, welcome into the Shakers. I just went live because I want you guys to hear the genuine behind-the-stage reactions. Marty, you look fantastic.
I love it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, tonight I'm going with the steampunk theme. And this is actually, I created all this myself. It has been a while since I've worn this. So typically the light, I have LEDs on here as well. And this is my Vampire Hunter kit that I made as well. Yep, all steampunk. You know, it's got this and the battery's dead, but this typically will come on right here. So it shows like, you know, just adding a little LED flare to it. Make it, you know, lights always make things look cool, don't they? Yeah. So this is my steampunk Van Helsing, or should I say Van Martin, Van Schrutel steampunk vampire slaying costume.
You are fantastic, Marty. Like, guys, again, I literally went live right as everybody's hopping in. Look at Lando. Oh my God.
Look at Lando. Look at Lando.
Better, Lando. This is a good look for you.
I love it. I love it. This is it. I love it.
You like the stash? I can't breathe under here, but thank you guys. It's a Halloween episode. I'm excited. This is what I've been anticipating all month. So let's get into it, man. Let's do this.
Let's do it. What do you think, Tony?
Oh, that's me.
That's it.
Oh, that's it. Happy Halloween, everyone. Do you want to do the intros, or do you want to do the?
Oh yeah, shoot! I totally forgot about that. I just like went live and just didn't even think about it. Okay, hold on, let me see.
Yeah, you did.
I'm sorry, I didn't have it. This is fantastic. Oh,
isn't it? And wait a minute, Laura. What about you? Look at you.
You can't really tell, but I'm in like a full like Flash outfit.
It's like a flash out. I like it.
It's my take on Barry Allen. Sorry, my thigh has a fall.
Very nice, very nice. Now this is not good.
Nothing will stand in our way. I will finish what you started.
Backstage, you guys are fantastic. Officially, guys, welcome into the Shaker Show for the week ending. I mean, gosh, this is the last day of October, so October 31st, 2024.
Yep.
As you can see, the Lords and I are going full Halloween costume this week. We're excited to be here. You guys look so damn good.
Wait.
Look who's talking.
What?
Right? Look at her. You look amazing, Laura. Absolutely amazing. And Tony, if you guys don't know, I believe Dr. Yo-Yo actually shaved his head today for this costume.
I didn't shave my head, so I sold my hair, but I shaped my beard to get that goatee. It took quite a while. I was up till like 1 a.m. with the trimmers and just kind of, I got to get this right. And, you know, you got to be careful because you can't grow it back overnight. You got to do it right the first time. So
absolutely.
You did it.
You did it good, man.
Yep.
And like I said, you can't even tell that Lando's in costume. He's basically just
he's just there. It's just what is that character, anyways?
What?
It's Dr.
What is that
Eggman. Dr. Eggman from Sonic.
Wait a minute. They have that in Canada, man?
Oh Oh man, we're gonna go off on a tangent. We're gonna go fast tonight, guys, because I'm gonna have trick-or-treaters at my door any second. So we're just gonna dive straight in. This is the Shaker Show. This list is based off of like really unusual or interesting sales that we're tracking on the aftermarket. It changes all the time. It changes daily. So you got to make sure that you're checking in on cover price and seeing what's shaken. Marty, you're gonna kick us off this Halloween. What do we got?
Oh, thank you so much. So number 1 brings you Brick City Bunch number 2. This is the Scotty Young cover, published by Urban Sequence in 2005. It's hard to imagine a comic book landscape without the distinct style of Mr. Scotty Young. However, 20 years ago, a new and hungry Scotty was still cutting his teeth and making a name for himself. This unique comic is centered around hip hop. Specifically, the 4 main aspects are DJ, MC, breakdancing, and graffiti. Created by DJ Justin Bleep, this comic portrays his vision of hip hop and rave culture in a sequential tale. See, almost, Laura, almost. I caught myself. Urban Sequence only produces the Brick City Bunch and published 2 issues. Each issue had an A and B cover. This one of the earliest works for Young, who was only published 3 years prior in 2002. Time has flown by. This cover, along with the Thanos Run the Jewels homage on Deadpool number 45, certainly demonstrates that Scotty Young must be a rap fan. This book is super hard to find. There are no copies currently on the CGC census. This is due in large part to a small run on a smaller book, with this one being the B cover. A raw copy of this book in very fine condition recently sold for $1,247. Wow, Ooh. Interesting. Yeah. You know, that much for this book. That's a very interesting thing.
I mean, Scotty Young has a massive following. You could even say like cult following. People are always trying to track down his stuff, especially from the early 2000s. So I'm not like shocked, but this is badass. I've never seen it in real life. Very cool.
Yeah, Scotty Young fans clearly ready to pay premiums, guys. Raw VF $1,247, and some of these early Scotty books, man, there's no surprise to see them hit such a a high point money wise. But I think it's neat. I've actually never come across this. I've never seen this book, so yeah, this is very impressive.
I would never guess this was Scotty Young's. This just doesn't really look his style. There's a semblance of it there, but it's not his distinct.
It's more Middle Westy. Remember his Middle West cover? It kind of has that feeling to it, I would say.
Yeah.
It's a pretty interesting. I mean, $1,200 for a raw 2005 Scotty Young variant. And do we even know like what the ratio was?
Doesn't say.
It was just a variant, right?
It's the B cover, so
yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, very, very cool. Guys, if you're just hopping in, I know I started early. We're going to have trick-or-treaters here any minute. My kids, all of my son's friends.
Laura surprised us too, so.
I'm like, we're going to kick it off early. I think a lot of people aren't going to watch live anyway. But okay, so first shaker of the night, Brick City Bunch number 2, the Scotty Young variant, Urban Sequence back in 2005 with a raw, very fine, coming in at $1,247. What do we have next?
All right, guys. At shaker number 2, we have Cataclysm, the Ultimates Last Stand, issue number 3 by Michael Soyan. 1:30 ratio by Marvel in 2013. Guys, this is a book I've been talking about for the longest time, and here's why. While the Age of Ultron comic storyline was underwhelming for most fans, its sequel, Cataclysm, was much more positively received. This follows the storyline where Earth 616 Galactus is displaced into the Ultimate Universe, indirectly due to the events of Age of Ultron. Galactus is a far stronger entity that the Ultimate Universe can deal with, so they send a team of heroes to Earth 616 to steal information on defeating Galactus. This mission includes Miles Morales, marking his first visit to the main Marvel Comics universe. That's a key. But anyways, it would take 2 more years of storytelling before Miles Morales was officially made a permanent member of Earth 616 at the end of Secret Wars 2015. Miles Morales' news has been pretty sparse lately. For a while, there were rumors that he would appear in a future live-action film. Then we got rumors that the third installment of the Spider-Verse was canceled. Those rumors weren't true, thank God. As fans hold out on more news from the character, picking up a few key issues doesn't hurt, especially with stellar artwork by Miko Suyan. There are only 18 of these books on the CGC census, and a raw book matched the CGC 9/8 sale. A raw near mint plus copy of this book sold for an all-time high of $200, missing the slab sale by a mere $5. This raw sale is closing the gap between the graded copy, which would likely push the slabbed copy up in value. Any news on Miles Morales will also help push this book on the aftermarket, making it a top pick in any collector's buy list. Now, kind of what I was saying, guys, I've been talking about this book for quite some time, simply because every time I see it, there's the cover A that you could pick up for dirt cheap. I grab it every chance I can because it is Miles's first appearance within Earth 616. The way he crosses over, first and foremost, the story is amazing. I loved it. It was so good. But, you know, yes, his first appearance is key, but you know, it's inevitable within the MCU that at one point we are going to see him in the MCU, and how he makes his way, I would imagine it's going to be probably something similar. Will we see a crossover? Probably. And this might be a book that has potential to pop. Those cover A's, you can find them in dollar bins. I picked up 10 copies at $1 a pop. So I'm sure you guys could do the same.
Wow, that's crazy. 10 copies for $1 a pop?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah.
Yeah, this is intense. I think it's always interesting when you have these sales that, like what you were saying, that bridge the gap between the graded and the raws. It kind of like sets the market, sets the tone for where this book is heading. So yeah, it's interesting.
And not only that too, Laura. Think about this, Miles Morales, right? Anything with that name attached to it, right? That's already a jump there. Not to mention, you know, it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time till we see him on the live action screen. Whether it be, you know, I would not be surprised if it's what is he doing, you know?
Yeah, I think
I think so, like I said, I think it's just a matter of time till we see something.
Agreed. He's assembling his mask. We're like all watching him, like, what's happening?
Hey, Tony.
There he is. There we go. Okay, shaker number 2, Cataclysm, The Ultimates Last Stand. Number 3, the Miko Suyan variant 1 in 30 from Marvel back in 2013, with a raw near mint plus coming in at $200, which what Lando was saying, it's only $5 off of the graded same all-time high, which is, I don't know, that's really interesting. Okay, what do we have next?
Mm-hmm.
All right. For shaker number 3, we got Double Action Comics number 2 from DC in 1940. Wow. Double Action Comics has captured the attention of golden age comic collectors with an astounding $132,000 sale for a CGC 7.0. Give me that damn. Marking an all-time high. An iconic piece. With only one other recorded sale in 2008 as a raw near mint for $16,730. That is nearly let's see, would that be like a 700% increase? This is a rarity in every sense of the word. According to Heritage Auctions, only 7 copies of this historic comic are known to exist. It is rated a 10 on the Gerber Star City Index, with Comic Book Marketplace placing it among the 20 rarest Golden Age comics. But what makes Double Action Comics 2 so legendary? This 1940s comic holds a unique place in DC history, reprinting pre-hero stories from the pre-action #1 Crisis era, including notable appearances by Dr. Occult, a character co-created by Superman masterminds Jerry Spiegel and Joel Shuster. Interestingly, the contents are printed in black and white, part of an experimental push to see if readers would respond to monochrome stories, an experiment that never became widespread. This book's cover mirrors Adventure Comics number 37, additionally, and adding an additional layer of mystique as it is a single issue release. There is no known Double Action Comics number 1 from a traditional sense. Number 1 was a Ashcan edition, air quotes, a prototype comic solely made for legal purposes. With its gripping tale of intrigue, crime, and supernatural elements, Double Action Comics number 2 is a golden age gem. Stories ranging from a marijuana peddling scheme that leads to a river dumping near miss to a bizarre graveside encounter featuring a Batman to an intense boxing match setup with an added twist of murder. These old golden age books were nuts. It's a fantastic assortment of pre-superhero adventure and horror themes, providing a snapshot of early comic storytelling before the dawn of the costume hero. This singular comic scarcity, historically significant, and unique content have solidified it as one of the crown jewels of comic collecting, now ranked number 95 in Overstreet's top 100 Golden Age comics list. Double Action Comics number 2 is not only a comic book, it's a legend. And as this sale affirms, a third of a house, pretty much. Its rarity and mystique have left an incredible mark on Golden Age and beyond, making it a true collector's treasure. $132,000.
Wait! I got it.
Damn!
Yeah.
A little bit late, but I got it.
There we go.
Or
Right.
as Tony Stark would put it, Tuesday's tip.
Just like someone said in the comments, right? What? No one has this book? I mean, seriously, right? Amazing.
Shocker.
Another example of great history right here. I mean, to have a book from the 1940s, a golden age, 10 cents cover. I mean, whether it's Action Comics, Double Action Comics, whatever it is, just to have a golden age book. I mean, it's precious. It's history.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm surprised.
Someone puts me on the board.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Yes, I'm surprised you didn't end up saying that this is the price of like 2 brand new Kias, but
This is the price of 10 brand new Kias.
Yeah, it's very, very impressive sale. It's like you guys said. I mean,
This is Lando. This is Lando talking right here, Lando.
There he is.
There's not much more I could add to that other than the fact that, yeah, it is a piece of history and it's a very impressive sale, man. It's funny because you said Ashcan in quotation, right? Like, it's just, wow, very impressive. 132,000 for a CGC 7.0. I'm shocked nobody made the board. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm shocked. No one made the board.
I think it's gonna be hard to beat, but here we go. Double Action Comics number 2 from DC back in 1940. If you were just hopping in, check out my crew tonight. These guys are on point with their costumes. I can't stop smiling. My face is gonna hurt from smiling at you guys. You guys look so good. CGC 7.0 came in at $132,000. What do we have next?
Yes. Oh my God. I'm glad I got this one. Shaker number 4 brings you Dragon's Lair number 1, published by Arcana in 2006. Before you allow your enthusiasm to build, we have yet to receive significant news developments concerning the Netflix project, rumored to feature the even popular Ryan Reynolds. But then again, what future project doesn't have Ryan Reynolds attached to the bill? Kidding aside, Dragon's Lair's first emerged as an iconic episodic arcade game in 1983, revolutionizing the gaming landscape with its stunning animation and its interactive storytelling. Crafted by the talented former Disney artist Dan Bluth, this pioneering title drew in players with its captivating visuals and innovative gameplay, creating an experience that was truly ahead of its time and enthralling a generations of gamers. 20 years later, the popular arcade game was adapted into a comic book by CrossGen, with Dragon's Lair number 1 featuring the talents of writer Andy Mangels and artist Fabio Laguna. Unfortunately, this series was short-lived, having only produced 3 issues. However, it still commands a decent aftermarket value today. The more impressive occurrence is this recent all-time high sale of $460 for a CGC 9.8 of Dragon's Lair #1, not by publisher CrossGen, but from Arcana, who picked up the rights to Dragon's Lair 3 years later in 2006. It's rare for the second version of a series to surpass the original. However, this cover features the series' original creator and possibly only appearance in comics, Don Bluth. Thus, this book holds more weight in the eyes of true Dragon Lair's enthusiast. Wow. Okay.
Doesn't Orlando mention something about buying video games? I feel like he says something.
I'm gonna tell you what. I remember when this came out. I was about 12 years old when this came out. Okay, and I remember hitting the arcade, and this was genius. I thought it was, at the time, it was so amazing to see an animation. You can play an animation game. I mean, this was so ahead of its time back in 1983.
Yeah,
I mean,
8 quarters like nothing else. My goodness.
Oh, absolutely. It was in my, and it was very difficult to play though, because it'll tell you, like, it'll show these certain like spots where you need to tap the joystick or tap the button to get you to what you need to do, either kill the dragon or you end up getting killed yourself. But it was, to me, it was difficult. Then again, I was 12 years old at the time, and then watching some other people, you know, and they made it seem look a little bit more easier. So.
It's still hard, Marty. It's still hard. I mean, you have to, you can't, if you tap the direction twice, you're dead. If you wait more than 2 seconds, you're dead. If you tap the direction, and they always use an 8-way joystick too. So if you tap the direction with a corner instead of a forward, you're dead. I mean, this thing, 8 quarters, like nobody's business. This game was incredible.
Yeah.
It was groundbreaking, but it was certainly designed to steal a 10-year-old's money. That is for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely, for sure. And it sure did steal mine, because I was at the arcade a lot, you know, playing, you know, something like this, Space Invaders, you know, all the old classics, right?
Invaders? Oh, that is classic. I know Lando's just dying to talk on this.
Asteroid, you know, all the old games.
I was gonna say there's only one game that matters, and it's mine, Sonic, of course. But no, guys, Dragon's Lair. Who was it? I think somebody in the chat said it, Liger, about the cartoon. That's what I remember mostly. But it's funny because the Dragon's Lair arcade you guys are talking about, I think I had seen it at Walmart. They have like the mini versions now that exist.
Wow.
So if you guys want to, you know, play without having to spend so many quarters, you could pick up one of those for very dirt cheap. But it's interesting to see Ryan Reynolds again tied to another title, right?
Yeah.
I think they just throw his name out there for shits and giggles, and it's like, oh, if we mention he might be part of this, it'll just make the entire property skyrocket, whether or not it's true.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, if they're going to do like a Netflix series, I'd love to see it, especially with Ryan Reynolds in it, because I think, you know, he does great comedic acting, right? And especially plays in a role like this. Because if you know anything, if you remember the character, he was sort of goofy. He was a real goofy character, and, you know, trying to save the princess and whatever. So I could see Ryan Reynolds doing something like that, but more of in a sarcastic manner, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this game was so sarcastic; it's right up his alley.
Yeah.
Agreed. All right, shaker number 4, Dragon's Lair #1 from Arcana 2006. Sorry, I thought I said 2026. A 9.8 coming in at $460. That seems reasonable given the year and the fact that this is one of those, you know, cult classics. So, what do we have next?
Well, at shaker number 5, we have Max issue 35 by Image from 1998. Created by Sam Keith in 1993, the Max debuted in Darker Image #1. The Max soon got its own series, which ran 35 issues and ended in 1998. The character was a huge departure from most mainstream comics at the time, but quickly gained a dedicated following. In 1995, the character even received a television series on MTV's Oddity programming. While the series was heavily printed due to it being the 90s, the last few issues of the series have always been consistently $15 plus books, with the final issue clearly going for the highest price in the run. These last 10 or so issues had considerably smaller print runs than earlier issues, which each issue dropping in orders until the last issue. Final issues have long had a market of their own, with books such as G.I. Joe issue 155, Nom 84, and ROM 75 having higher asking prices on the aftermarket. This final issue of Max has also become extremely sought after as well, as this week we saw a new all-time high sale of number 35 when a raw copy sold for $190. This copy was listed as near mint, so keep your eyes peeled for high-grade copies at local shops on the walls at conventions.
Wasn't there some sort of rumor about who was going to play? Wasn't it Channing Tatum? Am I thinking the right thing?
Oh, for Max.
Yeah, Marty, remember that? Were they saying Channing Tatum?
I do remember that. It was a while ago though. There was talks about it because I remember it was. Matter of fact, TiVo was still around actually when we talked about it. We talked a lot about the Max, and especially with Sam Keith being that the artist and all that. I do remember that conversation. It was a while ago. It was about a year ago. I guess.
I think it was like a year ago, maybe longer. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is exciting. Yeah. I think that this whole property has a lot of potential to it, and people are starting to see that. Yeah.
I love the artwork on Max. It's so distinct. It's so noticeable. Yep. I mean, you can pick his style out anywhere. I mean, and he has that really unique, distinct style that is very fun, but then again, very melodramatic as well.
Like your outfit tonight, your outfit's on point. You need to start wearing suits like all the time, no matter what. You are in like a suit like this because man, it works for you.
Yeah, it's very dapper.
Thank you so much.
It is.
Thank you. This is the all created, ladies and gentlemen, all created.
That's amazing. Like you could sell that stuff on eBay and people just gobble it up. Okay, well, there you go. Max number 35 from Image 1998, a raw near mint sale coming in at $190. We're halfway there, folks. So if you haven't already, please give the show a thumbs up and sub the channel. We have so much content all week. We have the top 10 on Tuesdays. We have the Shaker Show here. And then tomorrow we have Comics Covered, which I feel like that show's kind of slept on. There's a lot of really good information there. So if you're not watching, you are missing out. The co-founders, Matt and John, run that one. So definitely tune in. What do we have next?
All right. Hey, I'm so excited about this one. I am a 90s child, and the Ultraverse was my comic universe. I loved Prime. I have several Norm Brayfogle signatures on Prime books, including a remark he did back before remarks were really a thing. So to see this on the list, I am so jazzed. This isn't just a normal comic. This is a Sega CD insert that came with the game. So back in the 90s, Sega had, before the Dreamcast and after Sega 32 and Sega Saturn, there was a Sega CD. So I think it went Sega Master System, Sega Genesis, Sega CD, Sega Saturn, and then Dreamcast. And so the console was very short-lived.
Yep.
But the games are they're kind of hit or miss, right? This Prime game was a side scroller. Prime being one of the very first Malibu Comics main characters who helped start the Ultra Force, and it was in the universe that Malibu owned called the Ultraverse. Kind of like Shazam, Prime was a 13-year-old boy named Kevin Green who could transform into super-powered adult, except that he kept a mind of a 13-year-old. So he still thought like Kevin Green. Prime ran for several issues, 26 issues, several years before the Malibu Comics was acquired by Marvel. Marvel wiped the slate during a Black September event, kind of like Zero Day, but for Malibu Comics, and then rebooted the character from back to issue number 1. But they didn't change the origin, and they didn't erase any of his background. Prime became so big of a character that he started in a cartoon. The Ultra Force got a cartoon. Prime was optioned for a movie at one point, and as we can see here, was turned into a video game for the Sega CD. This was similar to most 90s side-scrollers fighting games. It's a lot like the Simpsons side-scroller arcade game or TMNT side-scroller game. It was Prime beating up on random thugs and monsters, but we're not here to talk about the game. It's the comic that came with the game. Most people who purchased the game had no idea that this miniature ash can size comic would be so collectible. And there are not very many copies up for sale. A near mint raw copy recently came up for sale, sitting at all-time high of $220, which completely eclipsed the 9.8 4 years ago that sold for $20. The sealed versions of this game are still for sale. Now, if you're going to go look, there are two versions of this game, right? There's a version that had two games in the cartridge, the CD case. That's not the one you want. You want the one that's just Prime, and you have to get sealed because the comic was inside. It's not the manual. It's in addition to the manual, right? So this comic is very hard to find because this game came out at the very tail end of the Sega CD time frame before the Sega Saturn came out, and it didn't sell well because the Sega CD wasn't doing that well. So you have a old console, an add-in, something that usually got thrown away, and you have something that happened at the end of a cycle, all leading up to a very rare book that collectors like me really want to get their hands on. This is one of my grails. This is amazing.
Yeah. Okay, Lando, confession. I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
Oh, no.
No clue what any of this is even like. What is this? I have no idea. No clue.
This is, but this is what I've seen. Even if you don't know what they're talking about or understand the Malibu, the comics, the Prime universe and everything. One thing that's very common, if you've noticed a pattern with video game covers, there has not been a week that has gone by that I don't think that we've read about a video game cover. That's true. This is heavy. This is really heavy on the list too. Because we see a lot tonight as far as video game covers. So kind of remember that too, even if you don't know. But guys like the guys like Chris, man, who this is very nostalgic for somebody. People are going to be out looking for something like this because remember, collection too. It's all about nostalgia too for a lot of people, especially the ones that came back up in the 70s and 80s, right? Very nostalgic times because a lot of beginnings of a lot of things. If you look at the history of pop culture and comic books and things like that. Amen. So kind of look at the pattern. Look at the pattern on this. Read the tea leaves, as TiVo you would say, right? And kind of look at it that way.
Now, I would love Marvel still owns the rights to all these characters. And there is a couple weird contractual issues because the characters belong to the creators. For the Ultraverse, it's similar to Image Comics, but a little bit more contrived, unfortunately. So it's unlikely that we'll ever see any of the Ultraverse characters come to Marvel Comics anytime soon. Definitely not going to come to any movies anytime soon because of the contract situation. And this character in particular, as much as I love Prime, and Norm Breyfogle just did amazing work on this book. The first 12 issues with Norm Breyfogle's work is absolutely incredible and worth buying on its own. However, one of the creators, Gerald Jones, got arrested in the late 90s because he had things that no good human being should have on their computer. So it's very unlikely that we will ever see Prime come up again, which is a shame because it's a better take on Shazam. It's an amazing character that really, really could have done well in today's day and age.
Yeah, Chris, you hit on absolutely every point regarding the game.
Lando, can I interrupt really quick? I'm sorry.
Yeah, go for it.
Sorry, my 16-year-old dressed up as a character from. Do you guys know what this is? Anybody?
Yes, I want to say Bram Stoker's Dracula with Keanu Reeves in it.
No.
Oh, damn it!
Anybody? No. Lando, come on. You're like her age. Come on. What?
Whoa.
I make fun of him for being really young. He's not really. He's like,
am I allowed to ask that?
You can't. He's like 30 something.
34.
He's like 30 something.
34.
That's not.
Give me a hint. Give me a hint.
It's a show right now that's like super popular. You guys.
Are you Keyleth from Critical Role?
Crash in the Wilderness.
Shadow of Bones,
No.
Skeleton Key.
No.
Am I in the right?
It's not a Critical Role thing?
No.
Okay, it's from a thing called Yellow Jackets.
What? I have not watched that. I've seen the advertisement. I haven't watched that.
Crash and they end up like eating each other. It's gnarly. Okay, I'm sorry, Lando. Go back to what you were saying.
You should watch that.
Yeah. By the way, guys, I lift up the mask so you could hear me. But yeah, no, Chris, you were saying pretty much everything spot on about the actual, video game itself, the history behind this book. Look, Marty, you said it. We're at 2 games, 2 video game comics making the list tonight, and it is something I say relatively often that you do see the trend, especially when it comes to the nostalgia. Such big books. I think this has been slept on for the longest time, if anything. Like seeing this high sale of 220, I almost feel, Chris, maybe you could agree, it's getting the respect it deserves, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is a little bit different than earlier. Earlier, we had a video game that was turned into a comic. This is a comic that was turned into a video game. However, if you look at some of the comic properties that were turned into other media, and when those comic inserts are worth a lot. I mean, there are, I want to say Spider-Man 2 or 3 had a comic insert that's worth like $200. You know what I mean? So you gotta look for these crossover things. You gotta look for those inserts, especially when you're dealing with limited, low print, and low release. Definitely.
Well said, guys. All right. This was Shaker number 6. We got Prime number 1, the Sega CD edition from Malibu back in 1993. A top sale for a raw near mint came out at $220. Yeah, I think we need to get a video of Lando like saying, find these video game variants. That's his thing. That's his tagline.
That's
smart too. What do we got next?
Oh, look at this one. I love this. Once again, we're seeing another crossover. Once again, read the tea leaves, right? Number 7, Shaker, brings you Star Trek Green Lantern number 4, Tony Chastain variant. This is the 1-in-10 ratio, published by IDW in 2017. Okay. Star Trek has been a part of popular culture since the 1960s. The show has spawned numerous shows, films, and licensing agreements for anything under the sun. Green Lantern debuted in 1940 in All-American Comics number 16 and has remained a vital part of the DC Universe. The cosmic adventures of both these properties finally crossed paths when DC and IDW collaborated for Star Trek Green Lantern, a 6-issue miniseries in 2015. This was followed up the next year with another 6-issue miniseries, Star Trek Green Lantern Stranger Worlds. This series featured various variant comics for each issue, but the one variant I'm focusing on is the 1-in-10 variant for issue number 4. This book features Captain Kirk and Spock both in Green Lantern masks and shirts. Honestly, it's just a simple and excellent cover that should please both fan bases. This cover was a sub $5 book for years, but has since reached highs in both raw and graded copies. A few weeks ago, a raw sold for $118, while this past week, a graded CGC 9.8 copy sold for $350. Both all-time high sales. Wow. This is interesting because we're looking at another crossover, right? And this is another pattern we're seeing as well. We're seeing crossovers. We're seeing comic book game covers as well. I'm very familiar with Star Trek. I'm not what you think as a Trekkie. I'm more of a Star Wars fan, but I'm very familiar about. I've seen all of the episodes of the 1960 original series, right? I've seen all the Next Generation as well. Not the
Marty, not
Enterprise, Voyagers, Deep Space Nine.
What's the one with the redheaded captain, the girl?
Discovery. Are you talking about Discovery?
Voyager?
The captain's a woman with like red hair.
Janeway, that's Voyager.
Deep Space Nine.
Yeah. I remember watching. I think that's the only one I've ever seen.
Voyager. Oh, Voyager. That's right. That's the one. Yeah, Voyager. Yeah. So I'm very familiar, but had the opportunity to actually meet William Shatner at a convention. You know,
Wait,
I got an autograph. So, yeah, so
you actually met him?
Yeah, actually.
Fascinating.
Yeah, there we go.
All right,
Thank you, Laura. I appreciate it.
Do we have time for a little story? Do we have time for a little story? Because
Yeah,
I've met William Shatner too. Okay, so my dad used to be a video game producer. So back in the 90s, I was around video game development all the time. That's how I met Rob Liefeld, because my dad worked on the Youngbloods game. My dad worked on a lot of Star Trek games for Interplay. And as we were doing voice capture for the Star Trek game that he was working on called Vulcan's Fury, Shatner was there doing lines. And I wasn't allowed to talk to him. I wasn't allowed to meet him. I wasn't allowed to talk to him or anything because I was, annoying little kid while I was in high school, but still. But I sat in like the sound booth and I listened to what was going on. It was so cool and so interesting. And Shatner was like doing his lines, and the guy who was having the script read and capture everything is like, that's great, Will. Can we get you to sound a little bit more like Captain Kirkish? And without missing a beat, he goes, "Don't tell me how to do my job. It sickens me." So okay, now that "don't tell me how to do my job, it sickens me," that has been that leaked out, right? And that's been memed in so many different. It was in Simpsons, it was in Mystery Men, it was in all of these different references.
Really?
It all goes back to William Shatner. I was there in the room when it happened.
Wow.
Drop, Gabe. Beat that.
That is an amazing story, dude. I can't one up that bad boy. That's a good story, man. That's a good story.
Guys, one thing I want to share though about this book. Yes, we're seeing a top sale of a CGC 9.8 at $350, but it is a book that a lot of people don't even know what they have. And it is. Look, I'll give you a perfect example. I have a good friend of mine who also does YouTube, Hyper Combo Comics. He literally told me, and he even shared it with me, like a raw copy is going for $115 US. He hit me up and he's like, I found this in a back bin for like, I think it was $8, right? The 1 in 10. This book, I'm positive you guys may be able to come across it for a good price. You know what? Like I said, some places don't even know what they have. I think this is a neat cover. I saw somebody in the chat, I think it was Reef the Sea Forever, saying this is an awesome wall book. 100%, man. 100%. I think it's a wonderful pickup, and keep an eye out in the back bins, guys.
When you have your mask up, it looks like you're wearing a taco on your head.
Taco.
Taco. I keep looking over. I'm like, oh, he's a taco now. I was like, oh, never mind.
I'll bring it back. I'll bring it back. Here.
I'm
back. You guys want to say hi to my mom?
Yes, let's go.
There's my mom right there.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
So nice to meet Laura's sister.
Yeah.
That's Mama Bird City right there.
Yeah, she just walked in.
Pleasure to meet you, Mama.
She brought alcohol. That's a good thing. All right. Sorry. Thank you. Yeah, we're dressed up for the show.
Mama knows how to party.
Dude, she's almost 70.
She's very beautiful.
So
she's very beautiful. Yes.
Wow.
You get it from your mama. We
I think I do. She does.
Where'd you get it? You got it from my mama.
She's never here. So, Star Trek Green Lantern number 4. This is the 1 in 10 variant with a top sale coming in for $350 for a CGC 9.8. What do we have next?
Well, at shaker number 8, we have Stargate Universe Back to Destiny number 1. This is the cover A by Chris Scalf, American Mythology Productions 2017. Stargate has taken a backseat over the years to other genre titans, but a massive fan base still craves more Stargate. Cue this book, a series envisioned to take place right after the finale, Gauntlet, of Stargate Universe. Despite not being a household name, Stargate Universe was a relatively recent outing, and fans were eager to continue the story. They opted to secure this book from American Mythology Productions, but the run was severely limited. This book didn't secure the traction it hoped for, as fans of the IP weren't too keen on its production. Still, It was all they had after a third season of Stargate Universe was canceled by Sci-Fi and shelved. That was enough for some fans to take a second look, with one recently securing a near-mint raw copy for $145, setting a new all-time high sale after a previous sale of $70 just earlier this year. But fans are left in a weird situation with this one. The book is still available from original retailer, but with a price tag of $200.
Whew.
Fans are scouring the aftermarket for a happy medium, but the gap is growing closer with that new high sale. Yeah. Look, I wasn't the Stargate kind of guy, so this is something that I have no relation to, but I could understand, why people would want to seek this out, especially after the cancellation, right? You want to get your fix, etc. You want to know what's happening post that. But it's interesting to see a raw near mint sale for $145. Plus, you add the scarcity behind this. It was a relatively limited. This sale kind of makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now correct me if I'm wrong. Apologize for my ignorance. We're talking about the Stargate Universe, like the SG-1, the movies. Okay, I love the Stargate Universe. I'm telling you, when I saw that movie, and then they started having the TV series. Like, of course, I couldn't make it past season 1, but I really, really enjoyed it. Not because I didn't dislike it, but I love the concept of it. Being able to go through a gate, because that's so. It's not far fetched. It's not far fetched. I'm just saying. Okay.
Hey, Chris, look what my dad brought me. Black licorice. Oh.
Ooh. You know what I got today, Laura? I got these candy corns in the size of a pumpkin. It was amazing.
Ooh.
It's gross.
The pumpkin ones?
Favorite.
The pumpkin ones.
Yeah,
Candy
they're
corn
so
pumpkins. Yeah.
All right. And Dad, Chris? No.
No? You don't want some, Chris? No?
Off my appetite because
Laura, may I have some, please?
No,
May I have some?
This is like natural. All it's in is molasses and wheat flour.
Yummy.
Please.
Stargate Universe, Back to Destiny #1, the Chris Scalf cover
Laura, your
A.
teeth are black.
No, I'm like, oh shit, they worth it. Raw near mint coming in at $145. Okay, wait, I just messed up what I was doing. What do we have next?
Oh, we're tearing through this list today. We got Shaker #9. We got one more after this. Now don't get too excited. All right. I know most of you are looking at this going, hey, I got that in the back bins, or I've got like 5 copies of this. Look at the lower left-hand corner. It says not for resale. And that's because this Ultimate Spider-Man #40 from 2003 was the Frigo Cheeseheads Sweepstakes variant. It is not uncommon to see oddball editions find their way onto the Shakers Report. And this week, and this issue of Ultimate Spider-Man #40 has done just that. A 4.0 CBCS, of this Frigo Cheesehead variant of Ultimate Spider-Man #40 sold for $100. And that's not even an all-time high. It's the first time a graded copy have sold while cover price was tracking it. It's extremely hard to find and was given out to 5,000 lucky contestants who submitted 3 Frigo Cheesehead product UBCs back in 2003. These books are extremely scarce, and there are very few documented sales. Additionally, it appears as if conditions of the books were sold were all over the place, which can be expected with a mail-in variant like this. The difference between this book and the original cover A is the barcode area down lower left-hand corner says not for resale. While both keep the same awesome Mark Bagley cover, overall, this is just a fun book to see pop up occasionally, and you should keep your eye out for it in case you cheese roll across one at a yard sale.
People didn't know what that was. Frigo Cheeseheads, you guys. The string cheese.
String cheese,
String
yeah.
cheese. String cheese, yeah. Absolutely.
Like, what's that?
Yeah, this didn't come like in like a Costco pack of string cheese or anything like that. You had to buy UPCs and mail this in, right?
Costco does Costco packs of string cheese. Nobody needs that much string cheese.
Yeah, well, I got 3 kids, So we go through a Costco pack, at least once a month of string cheese.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the same thing. Like my kids started elementary school, so like we're loading him with cheese sticks.
A year supply of string cheese. Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys want, if you guys need to give up some string cheese, send them to Lando and Chris, because they could probably use them.
Don't send me your old string cheese. I don't want your old string cheese.
Send it to him in the mail.
That's right. Just send him black licorice and candy corn. He'd be so indebted to you.
Black licorice is so good. Just like it tastes like medicine, sort of, but like a candy. No, not a good sell.
Yeah,
absolutely. I like it, Laura. I think it's delicious. I enjoy black licorice.
That's like you and me, Marty. We're soulmates.
And not only that, yes, we are. Not only that, but the jelly bean, black licorice jelly bean. Oh, I'm a big jelly bean fan, and black licorice jelly bean too is delish.
I agree. Couldn't agree more. We're gonna lose so many followers off of this show. The show, man. They're done with us. Lando, anything to add to this one?
Yeah, well, look, I have quite a few of the not for resale, but not this particular book. I have other Ultimate Spider-Man issues. I gotta say, Bagley killed it on majority of the Ultimate Spider-Man run. Like, I love his covers. I love his work. There's so many good books in the Ultimate Spider-Man run. Clearly, the success of this year's Ultimate Spider-Man is way more impressive, in my opinion, as opposed to when these dropped. But this not for resale, there's many titles at this time frame that came out. I remember I have like New Avengers, the cover with Sentry on it. There's plenty. And it's funny because although it says not for resale, you come across shops that are just tagging them, putting a price tag. And man, they're there. You guys can find
they're there.
Yeah, they're
absolutely. I've found them. I've actually found them in long boxes, digging through long boxes. You'll find them. Yeah, just keep your eye out for it. I know a lot of people, when you guys dig through boxes and stuff, you're just kind of looking at the top and the title. But I mean, things like this, man, check them out. Check them out if they're newsstand edition, direct edition, things like that.
Yeah, agreed.
Laura, what did you say?
I like the way he's posing. He's like, he has it popped.
Who was that?
Yes, exactly. Lando just nailed it.
Oh, okay.
Perfect.
What?
Ultimate Spider-Man 40, the Mark Bagley. We're just gonna say string cheese sweepstakes.
String cheese, yeah.
String cheese, guys. Which again, if you ever just want to eat a string cheese, you just chew it up and like keep it in your cheek until it's warm. Then eat it.
You gotta make it do the hula hoop dancing. Like you peel it all around. You can make like figures. Yeah, you could do that.
Figures.
Come on, Laura, get creative.
Don't be one of those freaks that takes the string cheese log and just like bites off the top of it.
It's an animal that does that.
Yeah.
All right, what do we have next? Last shaker of the night. Last shaker.
This is the last shaker of the night. And, before I read the last shaker of the night, let's just say thank you for joining us. Thank you for allowing us to be part of your Halloween. If you enjoyed the show, if you enjoyed the costumes that we showed tonight, I tell you what, I think TiVo would have been very proud of us tonight, being able to dress up, So thank you once again for joining us. So let's move on, because number 10 brings you X-Man #1, published by Marvel in 1995. Nat Gray was originally a character from Earth 295, a timeline established from the fan favorite story Age of Apocalypse. In his world, he was the son of Scott Summers and Jean Grey. Marvel eventually brought Nate into the official Marvel universe, and Nate received his own series, X-Man, which ran for 76 issues. Nate has consistently been a part of the mutant universe since his debut, and he has also been mentioned as one of the most powerful mutants in the entire Marvel universe. His power is set in a mile long, but writers have been able to keep fans interested in the character without him feeling too overpowered. There has recently been talks of Nate joining the next season of X-Men 97. This chatter has led to high-grade copies of his first appearance reaching new heights. This past week, a CGC 9.8 copy sold for an all-time high of $500, while raw copies in near-mint conditions can still be found for less than $20 and seems to be plentiful. These high grades near mint copies appear to be much more difficult to find.
Wow, that's amazing.
I would love to see him in the next X-Men 97. I think that would be great to see that, because in the first one, you know, we had Jean Grey and Cyclops with showing Cable as one of the kids, you know. So that was fun. I'd love to see something like this come out with Jean Grey too.
Yeah, and this being the alternate universe Cable that was never affected by the techno-organic virus, right? The character is incredibly powerful. He was birthed from arguably one of the best X-Men stories of all time. I'll go ahead and put that out there. Age of Apocalypse was amazing, and you know,
a good run, yeah.
I will tell you that not only is this book hard to find in really, really good condition, and if you have one, I have a couple. None of them are graded. I don't think any of them are 9.8 candidates. But if you have a 9.8 candidate, you should submit it, because it's very hard to get these in high condition. And there are newsstand versions of all of the Age of Apocalypse books, and those are even harder to find and go for a premium. And you can get those in long boxes because nobody pays attention, you know. So this is one of those.
And not to mention, you look at it, 1995, right? I mean, during that time frame, we've seen a big boom. So a lot of printings around this time. So I think you're going to see a huge print run on these too.
Yeah. Chris, I think you're spot on with that, on how you come across these copies and they're always beat to hell. Like, they're completely banged up. It's a book I've seen several times, and you can pick it up for dirt cheap if you're not picky with the condition of the book. But to come across it in a 9.8, yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a perfect copy. Now, Marty touching on the fact that X-Men 97 gave us Cable, which was awesome. Now, could we see that take place again? Will we see another child born with the next season coming? Who knows? I think it would be great if they would bring him in. I'd love to see that. So,
yeah, it'd be really interesting. It's just one of those characters that, you know, it's a good character. It's Cable without the limitations.
Yeah,
he's very powerful, and he even made it back to the regular 616 universe.
Yep.
I don't really know where he is right now, but I have to do some research. But this is an interesting book to see on the top 10. Definitely.
Sure. And our last shaker, X-Men #1 from 1995 with the CGC 9.8 coming in at $500. Lando knew it was about to happen. He put the mask back on. Thank you guys so much for tuning in with us tonight. We have almost 80 of you hanging out with us this Halloween, so we are thrilled that we still got some people tuning in and enjoying the show. Look at my guys. Look at these guys.
Hold on. I've got to put the other part on, because I know there was some people that did come in time. So I've got to get my full gear on.
Oh, I should put my gloves back on them. Are we all gearing up right now?
We're gearing up. There we go. Here we go. All right.
We do this because we love you guys and we appreciate you tuning in every week. Without you guys, this show doesn't exist. So make sure, if you haven't already, to like, subscribe, comment after the show's over, and be sure to tune in every week. We have so much content. We have the top 10. We have comics covered. So there's so much for you guys every single week. Let's do a quick round table real quick. We'll start with Tony Stark. Can you talk through that?
I don't know. Can you guys hear me okay?
You sound great, Tony.
Well, thank you, YouTubeites, for joining us on Thursday. We're not going to go into the Shakers list today. Oh, my God. We're not going to go into the Shakers list today because it's Halloween. Laura's got people lining up outside of her door to get candy from her. They're doing drinks at her house and everything. That already happened here. Kids are back from trick-or-treating and all that, but I would thank you guys for hanging out with us, and for you, those of you on the rewind, the replay, which I'm sure there are a lot of you. Go down in the comment section. What's your favorite book of the night? What's the most surprising book that you guys saw tonight? Which of the costumes are your favorite? I mean, you got to go with Lady Laura with the Lady Flash, right? So absolutely. Thursday, you know what that means. It's your Shakers list. Thank you all. Happy Halloween. Good night.
Eggman, you're up.
Guys, I can't wait to take this thing off. I've had it on for 4 hours. Holy moly. But one thing I want to say, Marty, you brought up something about TiVo. And when I realized that October 31st we had the Shaker show, the first thing I said is, guys, we need to dress up. I'm hoping, I know he's looking down. I hope he's proud. I never had the opportunity to ever share the screen with TiVo, but one thing that's most important is keeping his spirit alive. And I really, really appreciate you guys doing this. You have no idea. I was a fan, right? I would watch the shows weekly, and his presence is clearly always felt. So I appreciate all of you guys for doing this on the panel with me tonight. I appreciate all of you guys in the chat for showing up on Halloween night. You could have been out causing havoc, picking up chocolates, doing whatever it is, but no, you chose to hang out with myself, with Marty, with Laura, with Chris. So thank you. If you're catching the replay, nothing but love to you guys, and we will be back next week, man. So have yourselves a safe rest of Halloween. I'm done Halloween. You guys are getting started over on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Enjoy, man. Enjoy, and nothing but love to all of you guys. So thank you.
I'm gonna go out there right now, put my mask on, and start handing out all the candy. Marty, can you give us a blessing before we go?
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to keep this short because I know Lady Laura needs to go, but thank you for joining us as always. Guys, you guys look amazing. All of you guys look amazing. May the comic gods and TiVo spirit continue to bless your long boxes and fill them with treasures, keys, issues, bronze, golden, silvers, you name it. Thank you for joining us as always, and Excelsior.
Excelsior. Happy Halloween, everyone. We'll see you guys.
Happy Halloween.
For the entire crew, this is T-Bo saying keep digging in them long boxes. Peace out.
Oh, oops. I forgot to say the sound. My bad.
Still alive.